Here we go. Welcome, everyone. I'm Gina. We're going to do some really gentle movement, some breathing, some meditation today. So find yourself in a comfortable position. I'll be seated in a chair, but you're welcome to be seated on the floor. You're welcome to be lying down. It's whatever feels good to you, and trust your own body, right? What I'm giving you is suggestions, recommendations. If it's not working for you, do what does work for you. And even if that's just sitting quietly watching your breath, that's perfect. That's exactly right. That's exactly where you should be. We're going to start today just with a little massage, self-massage, right where the base of the skull is. So if you find there's like two big bones or like protrusions kind of in the back of your skull, we're just going to start with some nice gentle circles to ease the tension in the neck. Sometimes we put undue stress physically on our brain from how we hold our neck, the tension that we have, because there are lots of little muscles and tendons that connect the skull to the rest of the body. And our head is actually really heavy. And so if those muscles are straining or if our alignment isn't great, then we can be causing extra pressure, which can put some more strain on the nerves, which can make for worse movement. So you'll find the spot, like, and maybe make the circles a little bit bigger or move slightly around until you're like, oh, this is a place where that feels like I have some tension. And then just stay there. You can stay there calmly and still and just put pressure, or you can work in small circles, and it doesn't have to be a lot of pressure. And if you like to close your eyes, you can. You're also welcome to keep them open. Just working into the neck a little bit, being gentle with yourself. Maybe you find your breath, see how it's feeling today. We'll do maybe 30 more seconds here. And if this is tough to use the fingertips, you can always use like the big fleshy part of the thumb, or you can make fists and use the backs of the hands. There are lots of ways to make this work, even if you feel like your manual dexterity isn't great today. Okay. And you can also do, if you have one side that feels stronger than the other, you can use the same hand on opposite sides. All right. So feel free to, rub your hands through your hair on the back of your skull if that feels good, whatever you need to do. And then we'll come to a nice seated position, and we're really going to think about posture today. So if you're the kind of person who feels a little bit wobbly when you are unsupported, just scoot farther back in your seat so you have a little bit of support under your lumbar spine. If you feel strong in the core today and you want to sit self-supported, that's wonderful. Thinking about separating the feet and the knees about hip width distance if that feels comfortable. Really sinking down into the hips, thinking about lifting the chest. And then we're going to go back to this head skull placement. And there's a couple ways to do this. A lot of us, because we are either driving or typing, or you're using a walking device, or just living in modern times, we kind of hunch forward or our chin is protruded. So one way to think about where your chin should be is to put your hand on your chest and put your index finger on your thumb, or your index finger on your chin, and just kind of tuck the chin back so that the skull's over the spine. Another way to do this is to put the palm touching your nose and then pull your nose back a little bit. And see how that feels. Maybe do it a couple times, touching the palm and then pulling the chin back so that the ears are over the shoulders, so that the skull is over the hips. Let your bones do the work so that the muscles don't have to. Once you found this comfortable position, your head over your spine over your hips driving down into your seat, your feet driving into the floor. I'll invite you to close the eyes. If that's not comfortable, you can simply lower the gaze. And we'll start with 3 big breaths here, in through the nose. And you can sigh out long and slow. Take it at your own time. When you run out of air, again, in through the nose. And a long, slow sigh out. And one more like that. And then rest the attention on the breath, however the breath wants to breathe in your body today. So can you feel the breath in the chest? Can you gently feel the chest rise on the inhale and sink on the exhale? And there's no need to change it. We don't need to take big breaths. We don't need to exaggerate the movement. We just notice. Can you feel the breath in your ribs? Can you feel the air expanding the ribs on the inhale? And can you feel the ribs contracting on the exhale? And again, no need to take a big deep breath. No need to exaggerate the movement. We're just noticing. And then can you invite the breath down into the belly and get the diaphragm involved? Let the belly rise on the inhale and sink on the exhale. And as the attention's on the belly, as you're watching the breath come in and out through the nose, this is a good time to set an intention. Something that you want to embody, something that you want more of in your life, stating it in present tense, stating it as if it's already happened. I am calm. I am patient. I am healthy. Whatever it is, send it out into the universe. Feel what that would feel like in your body if you were embodying that trait all of the time. Let the universe conspire to help make it so. We're going to do a little bit of bumblebee breath or Brahmari breathing. This will stimulate the vagus nerve, which starts in that same part of the brainstem back in the back of the bottom part of the brain and goes all the way down into the gut. And so if you're not familiar with this breath, it's a nice gentle inhale through the nose and a hum with lips touching. And it's that vibration that turns on our rest and digest, our recovery, heal response, and turns off that fight or flight response. And when your hum is reaching the end, you have no more air left, that's fine. You just take another breath in through the nose and hum again. And we just keep going and going for a few more rounds like that, thinking about how does the sound feel in the head? Can you feel the vibrations? Where do you feel? Just being really curious. Can you feel the vibrations in the back of the throat, in the back of the skull? Can you feel the vibrations in the lips, in the mouth? Sometimes you can feel the vibration in the chest. And then we'll do one more round like this, in through the nose, out with a hum. And then take your time. There's absolutely no rush. But once you've reached the end of that breath, there's no hum left. Slowly let the breathing return to normal in your body, in through the nose, out through the nose, letting the belly rise on the inhale, sink on the exhale. And give yourself a little body scan. Is there anywhere that's tight, that's constricted? somewhere that doesn't feel quite right, is there a way you can breathe into that part of your body? Can you make yourself even 1% more comfortable? And if that means moving a little bit in your seat, that's okay. Sometimes there's a notion that once we're in a place for mindfulness or meditation, that we must be exactly perfectly still. But if you're feeling distracted because part of your body is uncomfortable, just wiggle a little bit. There's no rule that says you have to sit without moving. We'll do another breathing practice. This time, first, just starting in and out through the nose, in for 4 or 5, and out for 4 or 5. And we'll notice that little baby switch. There's like a little pause at the top when we switch from the inhale to the exhale. And we'll just notice that little pause at the bottom when we switch from the exhale to the inhale. So it doesn't matter how long your breath is, it's what feels good to you. And if you don't like counting, then just be intuitive. And this feels about right. This feels about right. So breathing in, notice the pause. Breathing out, notice the pause. And it is in that little pause, that little transition, that's where we're putting our mindfulness right now. In that switch from inhale to exhale, in that switch from exhale to inhale. There are all kinds of little switches that happen throughout our day when we go from one thing to the next, when we transition from doing something to doing something else, when we pause to eat or drink something, when we wake up in the morning, when we go to bed at night. There are all these little cycles in our day, and often they go unnoticed. And so this is a little reminder to just clock, oh, I'm transitioning, pay a little attention to the breath, and then go on to whatever you're doing next. Inhale, notice the turn, the switch into the exhale. Notice the switch into the inhale. And then if you like, I'll invite you to add a longer pause at the end of the exhale. So inhaling, notice that little switch, exhaling, and then when you're all out of breath, holding the breath out, again, 4 or 5, maybe 6 seconds, whatever feels good in your body, whatever feels manageable, whatever makes you feel like, yes, I'm holding my breath, but I'm not gasping for air. And then we inhale, notice the pause, exhale, and hold the breath out just for 4 or 5 seconds. And carrying on like this. Can you feel the heartbeat when you're retaining the breath at the bottom? Can you feel anything changing in your body? Any tingling or physiological changes during your breath hold? And it's fine if there aren't any. It's just something to be mindful of and to notice and to wonder about. And then if you like, we'll add another retention at the top of the breath. So turning our triangle into a box, inhaling, holding the breath at the top, exhaling, and holding the breath at the bottom. And then deciding how big you want your box to be. It might be a small box, in, hold, out, hold, that's fine. Or you might try to stretch yourself and say, okay, this time my box is this big, I'm going to try to hold each side for 1 extra second and do a few rounds like that. Again, being curious rather than striving. Sometimes we can get caught up in the ego and we want to do everything quick or the best, or look at how good I am at box breathing. And I will say that you can not be good or bad at box breathing. It's just a tool for mindfulness to keep us in the present moment. So if you're thinking about the breath, you're doing it right, no matter how big your box is. Inhale, holding the breath at the top. Exhale, holding the breath at the bottom. And we'll do one more round like this. Do it at your pace, however feels good in your body. There is no rush. And then when you've finished that cycle of breathing, allow the breath to return to normal. Again, scan your body, notice whatever you notice. And if there's a possibility of becoming 1% more comfortable, make whatever adjustments you need. Let's come back to your intention. If you set one in the beginning of our time together, stating it again in present terms, as if it's already happening to me. I am calm. I am in the present moment. I am patient. And then really breathe into that heart center. What does it feel like to be that thing, to embody that trait, to have whatever it is you sent out to the universe to help bring more of it, to attract more of that to you? What does it feel like in your heart? What does it look like in your actions, in your words? What does it look like in your interactions with other people? And what does it look like in your interactions with yourself, with your whatever is going on in your brain, with your thought patterns, with the way you speak to and about yourself? And then choose one tiny action you can take today to bring more of that into your life. And it could be, I showed up here, I sat with myself, I gave myself this time, and just have a little gratitude for yourself. You've already done so much of the hard work, which is recognizing that mindfulness is a path to really sort out all of the things that are running through our head. Take a moment to bow your head. You might want to rub the palms of your hands together to generate a little bit of friction, a little bit of heat, and cover the eyes. Take one more breath in. Let it go. And then blink. Open your eyes, maybe giving yourself a little massage around the temples, coming back into the space, looking at where you are before you make any big movements, and then gently bringing some movement back into your hands, your feet, your shoulders, your hips. Thanks for practicing with me today. We'll see you next time.